Hey guys, so I'm going to break down my $909 profit trade today on ticker AMD. So just for verification, this is my Discord server. Here's my profits straight off the watch list, 2793, that's my account. Here's my profit and loss on the day, $909. Just wanted to go ahead and put that there so you have proof that these are real trades that I'm taking. So I'm on the daily chart time frame here, right? Ticker AMD, and I always start my analysis on the daily chart because it gives me an idea of A, macro levels of support and resistance, and B, macro patterns that may or may not be setting up. So we have two things here. We have a macro pattern setting up. This is known as an ascending triangle. So it's a series of higher lows, right? Here's your first low. This is a higher low, that's a higher low, and this is a higher low, all being compressed into one single point of resistance, and that level of resistance for us was right around 87, 88, okay? The top level here doesn't really matter. You know, trading is never going to be exact, so I'm going to delete that top line for now, and I'm going to pull over my watch list for today and show you what we were looking at. Today, AMD was a long over 86. That was our trigger level. Let's go to the 5-minute chart time frame and talk about why that was our trigger level. Previously, the all-time highs was sitting at, actually I need to go back to the daily chart. All-time high was sitting at right around 87.74. Okay, so 87.74. Let's put a mark there. That's close enough. And our trigger was a long over 86. So 86 looked good for two reasons. One, it was Friday's resistance point, okay? And two, it was the pre-market resistance point. So we knew that over 86, we had a chance to run up and possibly test the all-time highs here. Did we know that we were going to get a break of the all-time highs? No, right? You never know what stocks are going to do. But that was our game plan, was taking the trade long over 86 for the move up to the all-time highs. So we took two entries on this play, the first one being at a break of 86. I put this in my alert room here. AMD is nearing the trigger. Watch this on volume for the break over right here at 652. I am long on AMD starter position, okay? Long on AMD 6:52 a.m. So let's break that down to the 1-minute chart time frame. And I'll show you guys right where I took my entry. It was on this candle here, 6:52. Why did I take an entry there? Here's the deal, guys. We didn't know that it was going to break, but I had an idea that it may. So this is a line of resistance here at 86, clearly. The starter position was taken because we didn't have confirmation that this was going to break over at that price point. And in fact, it actually consolidated and we were red for a little bit on the trade. But if we flip to the 5-minute chart time frame, this is why it's so important to watch. You want to watch multiple time frames at one time. This candle right here, this is known as a hammer candle. It's a reversal candlestick, but in this scenario, it's not really reversing anything. All of this is telling you is that, you know, the price came down to this support point right here at 85.31, but it was bought up by the by buyers, right? This big wick is telling you that the price was bought all the way up, and then the very next candle printed green. So on the 1-minute chart time frame, you see this is where it dipped down, right? And then it got bought up to the resistance point, and I wanted to enter early on a dip. I didn't want to enter after this broke out. I wanted to get into the trade and then set a tight stop loss below, 85.50 or so. So I was willing to take a paper cut loss, risking for that breakout over 86. So that's why we took the entry there at 652. It wasn't a perfect entry, I'll admit, but hey, nothing in trading is perfect. Look, if we waited for that breakout to happen, we didn't really even get a pullback. I mean, maybe right here we would have gotten a micro pullback, but then at that price point, you know, we're missing out on almost 1% of profit right there. And then we know all-time high is likely going to be a resistance. That's only another, it only topped out here at another 0.65%, right? So if we entered here, we would have been leaving a lot of profit on the table for this trade. 652 served as our first entry point. This moved up quite nicely at, let's see, sold some. I scaled out of this trade here, so I sold some here at 703 for 20%. 20% is just my number. I keep my stop loss at about 10%. 20% is my profit, so I have a 2-to-1 profit loss ratio, and that means that I would need to essentially double the amount of losses that I take than my wins to have my account remain at break even. So a 2-to-1 ratio, I know these numbers work out for me in the long term. So I scaled some off at 20%. I usually will always do that. Again, I sold another portion here at 708 for 30%, and then 2 minutes later at 710 I closed AMD. Look for a dip entry later or a move over 87. 87 is the key number, and we're going to talk about that here in a second. So 7:08 a.m. that was right there. Okay, so just before it had this little dip down, that's where I started selling some off. Then it did dip down here, and I saw this red happening. My thought process at that point was I'm going to exit the trade because I thought it had potential to come back down and test 86 as a support, and I would have looked for a re-entry at 86. It never happened. It dipped down a little bit, ran up, dipped down again, and ran up, made another high, and that's when it broke the 87 level. And so this is what we're going to talk about here for our second entry. So going back to the 5-minute chart time frame. On the 5-minute chart, again, we have to watch multiple time frames at once because the 5-minute chart doesn't show a significant dip. It's not until it breaks 87 and then pulls back and kind of tests that level as a support that we get that significant dip here on that lower volume, right? On the 1-minute chart, we see the minor dips. On the 5-minute chart, we don't see a big dip. So if I'm looking for a dip entry, guys, I'm looking for that dip entry to occur on the 5-minute chart time frame because these little minor dips here, they're great for scalping, but I wanted to catch this move. I wanted to catch the break of all-time high, that run. So again, I took this entry here at the hold of 87 using the trend line technique, right? I don't even need to draw the bottom trend line because it's irrelevant. The idea is that on a downtrend, you draw a trend line across the tops of candles. When you get a break of the trend line right here, you likely have an intraday trend change, right? And so that serves as your entry point with your stop loss being just below the low of the dip. So my stop was here at 86.75. I took an entry just above 87 and caught this move back up topside for the remainder of the profits on my position. So the first position was about it was about an $800 gain. Let's see here if I go to the profits. Yeah, 793. My second position was much smaller in size, but I netted about $110, $120 profit on that to make my total 909. Why did I enter with lower size on the second entry? Well, because the move we'd already caught that majority of the move up. We didn't know that it was going to break the all-time highs, and when it did, it ran. But I was looking for this little pop move up, maybe a high of day test, all-time high test, right at that exact price point, and then get out of the trade. So I entered with smaller size. I was already up on the day. I don't get greedy. I'm not a greedy trader. Who really needs to make $1,000 to $900 a day anyways? It's nice, right? But my daily goal is around $1,000. So I was happy with taking a smaller position. Caught that break over 87, the break over all-time highs here, and just sold into the strength. That's it, guys. I never went back and revisited this play, although you could have used that trend line technique one more time right about here for this pullback and then break over, and again another push into all-time highs and another break for the high of day right here. If this video has helped you out, which I hope that it has, please like and subscribe. Guys, comment below any future video ideas that you want me to do. If you want me to break down any tickers, I'm glad to do it. And show me some love. That really helps. That feedback really helps with future videos. Again, I will see you all in chat. I hope this has helped out, and thank you for your time.